So log into Firebase, and what we're going to do here is create our app. So we're going to come down, we're going to go over to this empty box, and we're going to type in Ober. And let's see, for your app URL, let's just do Ober, let's call it Ober app. Alright, so mine is going to be Ober app. You're going to have to give your app URL a different name when you do this, so just come up with something. Maybe it'll be your app name. Alright, and then click on create new app. Alright, so the app was created, so now we can click on our Ober app right here. And we should be all set. Alright, so first things first, what you want to do is open back up your Ober app. Make sure that you're opening up the Ober.xc workspace, because since we have CocoaPods integrated in the apps, this is the file that you're going to need to be using instead of the Xcode project. So open up your XC workspace. I already have it open, so I'm just going to jump down here to Xcode and hop in. Alright, so now that we're in our app, first things first, what we want to do is we want to come to the main storyboard and scroll all the way over until you get to the Rider VC, and you're going to click this and uncheck is initial view controller. We had that set up previously just so that we can enter into our map view so that we wouldn't have to keep logging in each time. So scroll all the way back to the left and click view controller and select is initial view controller so that we can start at the beginning of the app where it needs to be. Now that we have that done, let's hop over into the sign up view controller, and we're going to import Firebase here. Now you may say, alright, what about parse? What we're going to do now is we're going to leave parse there until we get everything working with Firebase, and then once we get everything working on Firebase, we're just going to come back and remove the parse code, such as the imports and the code in our functions. So what we're going to do is we're going to come all the way down here, and okay, so I'm going to create a function. Actually, let me enter down some space here. Alright, get some more space there. Alright, function register user using Firebase. And we are going to take an email, which is going to be a string, password, which is going to be a string, and we are going to take is Rider, and that's going to be a bool. So we need to see if the person registering for the app is a rider or a driver. Alright, so we have our function here, and I'm going to show you a quick trick. It's not really a trick, it's just Firebase's documentation is really simple. It's just like parse. So we can jump, let's see, oh, we have an error. I had it all caps. Alright, so let's hop back over to Firebase and grab the code to create a new user. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into our, actually we can just go to Firebase and go to docs. Just go back to firebase.com, click on docs. Alright, and then we're going to go to iOS and then click on guide, and then we're going to come down to user authentication, and Firebase has all the code you need to connect to Firebase for creating a new user. So what I showed you before was we were using the platform email and password, so we're going to click on email and password, and then here we go. We have all the info we need. We have create user accounts, logging users in. So this is what we're going to be using. So we're going to click on Swift, and then we're going to just copy over the code and that's the code to create the new user, and then we're going to hop back into our Xcode project. Alright, and then we're just going to paste that in. Alright, so now that we have that code in, we're going to have to, if you've saved your URL, great, but I copied a few more things since that last copy when I told you to do it. So we need to hop back into our app, and I need to get that URL. So I'm going to just log back in, and I'm going to go back to Ober. I'm just going to go up to the top and grab the URL that we need. So let's copy that. Get back into my app. Alright, so println is no longer in Swift 2, so we need to take off that ln from that code. And we need to enter our reference URL in. So we're going to come in here and we're just going to enter our URL. And then we're going to enter down here. I just like to create some space so that I can see what's going on. Alright, so of course right here for our create user, we're just going to take out this right here and we're going to put in email. We're going to pass in email right here. Then we're going to pass in the password. So let's do that. Alright, so we're passing in our email, we're passing in our password, and for isWriter, that's going to be later on down here. I'll show you when we need to get to that. Alright, so we have our Firebase URL right here. This is going to connect us to Firebase. And then we're creating the user with the email, which is the email right here, the password, which is the password, and then we're going to jump down. We'll worry about isWriter later. We're going to jump down right here. It says if there's an error, if the error is not equal to nil, then there is an error. There was an error that occurred. So we can actually just run our alert. We can just go, we will go, actually, you know what? Let's just go back up and see what we put before for the error up here in our previous alert. I'm pretty sure it's going to be, let's see if there was an error. And we want to show the alert error register. Let's just copy this right here. No sense in like coming up with something new. We're just going to copy that over. And then we're going to say if there's an error, let's show our alert, which is right here, the code right here, function show alert. That's what we're running. So we're running our alert and we're saying that there's an error registering, and the message is not going to be error string anymore. We're just going to pass in error, which is right here, this error. And let's see if that works. Let's see, use unresolved identifier error. Let's see. I'm going to say we don't need to convert that. We can just come back in here and put in error. Let's see what it's saying. Can I convert value of NS error to expected argument type string? Alright, let's go back up here. Let's see, we're passing in a message, which is a string. Let's see if it has any, if this error has any properties. Error dots. Alright, it's looking good. Let's just run this just to make sure. Alright, our bill succeeded, so let's get back. Let's jump back in. Everything's good there. Just make sure you have your show alert error message and then string. Make sure you have your 2 parentheses here and then the closing parentheses. So we should be good there. Okay, so we're gonna jump down here, and what we're gonna do here is if there's no error, then that means that the user was registered. So we might as well sign the user in. So let me show you where that's at. Let's get back into Firebase. Alright, so let's go to firebase.com. Right, we're here. We're going to log back in. Alright, good deal. So we're going to come down and go into our Ober app. I'm sorry, I brought you actually into the... We need to just go back to firebase.com. I don't know what I'm thinking. We need to go to Firebase, and then we're just going to go to Docs. And then we're going to jump into iOS, Guide, and then we're going to go down to... What is it going to be? You know what it's going to be. Can you guess it? We're going to go to email and password. And then we're going to get down to login user and click Swift. And then just copy this code right here. We already have our reference. So actually, let's just come down here and just highlight this. This is all we need. We don't need to create a new reference URL because we already have that there. So we're going to jump back over into Xcode. Alright, and we're going to paste this right here. Alright, so we're using the same reference variable. And we're going to take this out, and again we're going to log in with email and password. Alright, so we're good there. Now we have another completion block. So let's say if there was an error logging in, then this is what would happen. So we're just going to come back up and grab our show alert. And we're just going to show the error here if there was a problem. And then we're going to come down here, and this is going to be if we are logged in, it's going to happen here. Alright, so if the user has logged in, we're going to create a dictionary with the user information. So first what we're going to do is, let's see, we're going to go let user equal, and then we're going to create our dictionary here. So we're going to pass in email. We want an email key. And that's going to be email. But close that off. And that is going to be email. And then we want a key for password. You can do password or provider. And then that is going to be, we're going to need auth data dot provider. To go and add right here is where we're going to say, all right, is writer, and then we are going to pass in is writer up here. We're going to pass in this is writer right here. And you know what? Actually, we could change this because we did have an isWriter variable. No, let's leave it. Let's leave it. Because, wait, let me see something. let's just come up here and change it to isWriter_var so we don't get confused with the other previous variable. So let's just put var right there, variable. Could be whatever you want, but let's just call that that. Let's see, isWriter_var. Should be good there. All right, so now we have our user dictionary so that we can pass this data over to the Firebase dashboard tree, with which I was telling you earlier. So let's get back down here, and what we're gonna do now is we're gonna create that user's object. So we're gonna go ref. We're gonna access our reference, which is right here. So we're gonna access the reference, and we're gonna go .child by appending path. And that is going to be users. And then we're going to go .child by appending path, and we're going to pass in the auth data .uid. I'm not getting it. Okay, there we go. I wasn't getting auto-populate. And then we're going to just go, this is the main thing. This is what saves it into the Firebase database. We're going to go set value, and then the value that we're going to pass in here is our user, and this is going to set all of these values under the user ID of the auth data. Alright, and then if we come down, let's see, we come down and then we have let user ID result. This is just going to show that it was successful and print out the user's user ID. So now that we have that straight, we have everything good to go here. Now we just need to run our function. So we're going to go back up here, and we're going to find where we were registering a user with parse, and we're just going to, we have our sign-in code there, and then we have our register code here. Alright, so right here is where we did the registration with parse, where we had this user and everything right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to run our function. So we're going to go right above this, self dot register user using Firebase, and then for the email it's going to be self.username.text. Password is going to be self.password.text, and then isWriter is going to be self.isWriter. Alright, so we should be good here. We should be able to register and see the data in Firebase. Wait, we have an error. Let's see what's going on here. Oh, okay. We know that there's we have to set that there, and let's set this again. We have to force unwrap those variables. So we have self.username.text. All right, so we should be good. So now that we're all set up there, we should be able to run this app and get some data into our Firebase for the user. Let's see what we get. Let's run this. Let's test it out. Now we just got to play that wait game to see when this simulator is going to crank up. I think you're gonna have fun with Firebase. It's fairly inexpensive. It's really a good backend. I think it's like $49 a month for unlimited connections, which is pretty good. All right, so let's register, and keep in mind that we still have parse connected, so the map view is still gonna come up because we still have all of that set in parse, but we're gonna get all of that straight with Firebase. So let's go register. Let's just come up with a username. Let's just call it firebase@gmail.com. I'm just making this up. And password test. And then let's set writer right here. Then let's register. Alright, our register succeeded. and we've created an account. So let's go into Firebase and see what we have. So I'm gonna log into Firebase. All right, click on your Ober app. All right, there we go. All right, so you see now we have data here. We have users, which we created in the app, and then we have our ID, and then we have email, we have our password, and we have is writer is true, which is we selected writer in the app. So we're looking really good here. And then if you come down actually to log in, it should have the user account at the bottom. So let's scroll down to the bottom, and we have our user account with our user ID. So we're looking pretty good. Let me hop back over into data, and again we have our users object, and then we have our user ID object, which identifies the actual user, and then this user has an email, a password, and the variable that we set. So we should be good to go. I'll see you in the next tutorial.